Expect me, nigga, like you expect Jesus to come back. Expect me, nigga, I'm coming. Expect me, nigga, like you expect Jesus to come back. Expect me, nigga, I'm coming.
So, I don't know, you probably maybe have saw the press conference. Tupac finally came out of hiding.
Yeah.
I haven't seen a car in 50 miles.
You know what I just thought of, right?
Kenny and Darla,
You believe that story?
that they had to go looking for her head.
They only found the car.
They never found her head.
What's he doing?
The hell is that? He dumped something down that pipe.
Wrapped in a sheet.
Nah, don't block my way and don't hit my lawyer. Tupac, you think this is a bum ramp?
You're at a gun show in the US, so why not pick up an autograph from the killer of Trayvon Martin? Sitting quietly in a corner of the exhibition in Orlando, Florida, George Zimmerman signs photos and is ready for a chat, revealing a slice of life for the controversial figure who was acquitted of the murder and manslaughter of the black teenager last year. Apparently making this public appearance as a thank you to the owner of the gun show who supported him throughout the trial. Zimmerman was accused of racially profiling, following and shooting 17-year-old Trayvon in a gated neighborhood as he was returning from a convenience store. He claimed self-defense, and the trial shone a spotlight on Florida's Stand Your Ground law, which allows someone in fear of his or her life to use lethal force, which Zimmerman did. It prompted a series of protests about a law which many view as a license to commit murder, and even led to comment from US President Barack Obama. Since his acquittal, Zimmerman has had several brushes with the law. As well as being stopped twice for speeding, he was questioned by police in September after his estranged wife called authorities saying he'd threatened her with a gun.
Today we met up with George Zimmerman at this gun store, asking him what life has been like since he was acquitted of murder last year.
How come you stayed in Florida? Why didn't you just leave?
I didn't. I went all over the United States. I met great people from here to Texas and even up north.
Do you plan to stay here or do you plan to leave?
I plan to go wherever the wind takes me.
Why not just change your name, wear a hat, disguise yourself, and then live your life the way you want to live your life?
Sure, I do disguise myself. I do wear a hat and sunglasses, etc. But I'll never change my name. I've had so much taken away from me. I'll never let someone take my name away from me. Same reason I won't leave the United States. This is my country, and I won't leave. No one's going to make me leave.
Do you have any remorse?
In which aspect?
In what had happened on February 26th?
Sure, and again, I hate to deflect, but I have to because of the Department of Justice's investigation.
And what happened the night you and your girlfriend were calling 911 on each other?
Again, I can't answer that.
But you seem happy and you're back together again.
I mean, you mean with her? I try to be as happy as I can with everybody, yes.
Zimmerman wouldn't talk about his domestic dispute with his estranged wife, Shelley. He realizes his actions are being closely watched and says he still gets death threats.
What's it been like since the trial for you to try and live a normal life?
I think America can answer that. From what I understand, my speeding ticket was the first internationally publicized speeding ticket. So there's a tremendous amount of interest. There's a tremendous amount of everything I do is hyper-scrutinized, and I realize that, so I try to stay out of it.
Zimmerman tells us he's getting treated for post-traumatic stress disorder as he goes from hotel to hotel.
It is a challenge, I can tell you that much.
And what is it that keeps you going?
My faith in God.
He tells us he wants to go back to school one day and get his degree. Zimmerman says he still walks around with a gun for his own safety. He's not sure when the Department of Justice investigation into the shooting of Trayvon Martin will be completed. In Orlando, Valerie White, Fox 35 News.
Jeepers, creepers, where'd you get those peepers? Jeepers, creepers, where'd you get those eyes?
Is this your idea of a little adventure?
I'm just gonna look.
Hello? You know the part in scary movies where somebody does something really stupid and everybody hates them for it? This is it.
Every 23rd spring, for 23 days, it gets to eat.
Eat.
What the hell is that thing?
It's stuck in reverse!
He must have 5, maybe 600 bodies down there.
You've got something it likes, one of you.
You think he's dead?
They never are.
Jeepers Creepers.
The psych ward, don't ignore the psych ward, all aboard the psych ward, God ignore the psych ward, all aboard the psych ward, don't ignore the psych ward, all aboard the psych ward, God ignore the psych ward, nobody cares, my back's packed with poverty pains, my problems. No one can solve them, G, I can blame. I've been counting death more than once, yeah, I survived. Nigga, please, to breathe, blunts and roll, let's get high. Time after time, rhymes that I read to portray my pain, to explain. The game cuts all convicts and chains, but thug stories ain't no love for me. My cousin died, my lady lied, she left me, though I ain't surprised. Ashamed to cry, mama told me, son, there, it's alright. Most nightmares keep me from sleeping, which means I'm up all night. Can't fight fair, I beware the fact niggas is strapped. Unexpected robberies, I can't take it perhaps. If I make it unappreciated for all that I've done, I'll probably die early. Solo G, watch over my son, tell him his daddy's dead. Yet I die with a smile upon my face, thinking of my one and only child behind his gates. The psych ward, don't ignore the psych ward, all aboard the psych ward, God ignore the psych ward, all aboard the psych ward, don't ignore the psych ward, all aboard the psych ward, God ignore the psych ward, when mama said it, I would end up in the hands of paramedics, pathetic, regret it, I'm crying, but I can't let it, won't let it, take control of my mind, my body and my soul, at least what's left of the deficit, truth is never told, I preach this ever since the day I was born, what a masterpiece of blasphemy, and they say I was wrong, no one asked me who cares about my side of the story, what's waiting out there for me, a cold world, life for me, ignore me, I'm just a little boy that cried wolf, now I'm yelling, screaming, seeing demons, the werewolf, why they nailing the savior to the cross, people, what do you think to save us, what's false, am I all alone, who's there, just me, myself, and I wanna go home, wasn't scared, just keep myself alive, for the trap aside, look in my face, I'm pissed, no wonder why I end up in a place like this. The psych ward, the psych ward. Don't ignore the psych ward, the psych ward. All aboard the psych ward, the psych ward. God ignores the psych ward, the psych ward. All aboard the psych ward, the psych ward. Don't ignore the psych ward, the psych ward. All aboard the psych ward, the psych ward. God ignores the psych ward.
So you're saying that part of the rise of the increase in firearm sales is because everybody's kind of realizing there's a race war, but we're not willing to talk about it in public?
I think people are very much more aware of how vulnerable they are. And yeah, that's absolutely. I mean, I hear people say, well, people think Obama's going to grab the guns and the ammo in the second term. I don't think that's as important as the feeling of insecurity people get when they know there's all this violence going around, but people are ignoring it. So people are really starting to feel they have to do more to protect themselves.
Now, obviously, in doing a lot of interviews for this book, not everybody's going to be a fan of yours. What do you say to people who say, oh, well, you're just trying to promote the very race war that you're saying is bad?
Well, I don't use the word race war, but again, I just say, listen, I'm not just saying it. I've got it on YouTube. I'm documented all over the country, hundreds and hundreds of examples. And so I'm just telling the truth.
Wow. Well, I got to tell you, this is one of those things that I wish didn't exist. If there was to be violence, I would hope that it would not be based on things that divide people. Because what happens is, once this becomes known, other people are going to choose sides naturally. Even if they don't engage in violence, they're just going to naturally choose sides. That's the psychology of humanity. So if this is a continuing trend, we're going to see an escalation of division, and that's not really what we need right now. Is there any effort that you have seen? And I understand I'm asking a lot of questions that go outside the realm of the book, but so many people are going to have questions because of this. Is there any effort within the black community to stop this or to kind of nip it in the bud?
Yeah, I actually wrote about that in the book and for the stories I wrote for WND.com. There are, when you talk to a black person about this, more often than not, they shrug their shoulders and they go, "What are you going to do?" They know this book is true, but there are more and more black leaders who are getting very impatient with this tolerant attitude towards this hyper violence, and they're starting to speak out for more of a tough love approach. Heck, in this where I'm talking to you from, 6 months ago, a caucus of black elected officials called for the governor to put the National Guard on the streets of Wilmington. It was getting so bad.
Well, I'm not a fan of putting the National Guard on the streets, but I understand the sentiment there, where people are saying, hey, you know what, this is getting out of hand, and I'm encouraged to see that it's coming from the same ethnic heritage that's part of the problem in the first place. And again, it's not that the ethnic heritage is the problem. See how lightly we have to tiptoe around this? You have to cover everything, make sure nobody can take your words and skew them. And that kind of emphasizes the point you're making, isn't it? That this is such a fragile issue that even if we talk about it, we kind of have to dot our T's and cross our I's here so much that it almost takes away from the value of the discussion.
Well, down in Miami Beach, they have Black Beach Week. Last summer, 400,000 people destroyed the town, mountains of trash, violence, lawlessness, mayhem, gunfire with police, all sorts of bad things. Afterwards, that's what the mayor of Miami Beach did. He got up there and he apologized for noticing that Black Beach Week was a nuclear holocaust on his town. Why do we have to apologize for noticing when people are doing bad things? I don't do that on my book, and I didn't do that on this interview, and it's not really useful.
And I think, when leaders step up and take initiation and take effort to stop this, I forgot where it was, maybe it was Philadelphia or Pennsylvania, where the mayor said, look, this is partially our fault. We're not raising our children anymore. We're not being the parents we need to be. So some of that is being responded to, and that's always encouraging.
So Philadelphia, dozens of large-scale examples of black mob violence. And, of course, the mayor told the New York Times at first, nothing racial about this. No, just a bunch of unruly kids. Finally, because of talk radio and the Internet, people were just demanding he tell the truth, tell people what's going on. Finally, he went to a black church and he said, this is a black problem. These are black kids. They have to start behaving. And so the mayor saw the light.
And you're not racist to bring it up. You're not racist to talk about it. You're not racist to realize race is an issue. And I think that's one of the alarming things. How can acknowledging what is so obvious be a bad thing when looking into a situation that's become an epidemic?